How's it going, everyone? Just another live small stream here. This is not part of the giveaway, by the way. Hope everyone's having a good day. Just gonna send off a couple invites here for people that might want to join the stream. Let's see. Send it off in here. Should take a picture, but whatever. That should do. And back to the chat. Should be all set up. Hopefully I don't drop a whole lot of frames. I did get some things set up. Well, it looks like it didn't work that well for my setup. I'm still at pretty high kilobytes for some reason. Oh, really? I know Canadian Tire right now has a bunch of good deals for them, so if you're listening. Damn, damn. Let's see. Still don't know how to do like the mass invites. Kind of difficult to do. It's like there's certain people not added on to me on certain things, and I can't do a mass invite for the small stream, which really sucks. And maybe that'll work for me too. Oh, nice. Let's see if I can set things up. So that way I can send some invites. Get the link here. Well, that's definitely not what I wanted. Definitely not what I wanted. There's gotta be a way to just do it, but apparently not. It kind of sucks. What else do I got? What's here? I don't know. I guess I could do Facebook. I'll be right to the chat in 1 second. Just gonna send off some things here. There we go. There we go. Just another small live stream. Could go grab a couple things to just to work on a little bit, but more or less is gonna be answering some questions about PC components or anything like that, anything PC related. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Still need to put together, I still need to bondo up my DAS, so that way I can make it look nicer. But that's about it though, really, what I gotta do. Back's still sore, so try and take it a little easy today. I do got my coffee here. Oh. I'm out of coffee. Be right back. Just gonna grab coffee. I am answering PC questions. So let me know what's on. What? Whoa, whoa. Let me know. Boom. And I'll be right back. Still need to see what I want to do though on this stream. Something. Oof. I know that took a bit longer than I thought. Go away, flies. Took way longer than I thought. I had to grab a recycling box at the end of the road. Finally showed up. Supposed to be here like 2 weeks ago, I believe. That's what my buddy says. Supposed to be here like 2 weeks ago. It just showed up now. Because the last one, they were so rough with the recycling boxes that they literally broke it. So hopefully everything sounds pretty good. That's what I'm hoping. Hopefully things look fairly good. Because the way the light comes in through the window, I gotta set things up a way so that way it doesn't look terrible. Yeah, I might grab a multimeter and maybe show some people how to use a multimeter. Okay, so I grabbed an old power supply, so that way I can show what capacitors do, because capacitors hold charges, right? And if you don't discharge them properly, they can hold a charge. Also grabbed a fan. I'm not sure if this fan's actually gonna do anything for me. This is top of the line Corsair magnetic levitating fan, but generally with anything that has copper and a magnet and you spin it, you can make a generator out of it if it's not putting power into it. So I grabbed that as well, and I grabbed multimeter, and then I got a 1.5 volt battery here. Ugh. So we got Dave. Oh, really bright. So we got Dave. Dave's really dusty right now. So right now in here is 18, almost 19 degrees. It's supposed to get up to like 23 today. It's supposed to be another warm day. So we got Dave here. Dave's happy. Dave's usually not happy, by the way. Dave is usually always sad. But we can take the battery out of Dave. It's a 1.5 volt, just a AAA, right? We'll start off with that. It's one of the easier things to test. And we got the multimeter here. So multimeters have, if you get decent multimeters too, they have different settings for it. So I'm going to set it to, shouldn't be giving me anything. Why is it giving me stuff here? So let me make sure it's going to work here. It's giving me a 0.08 on it for some reason. Come on. It's really difficult to hold the battery on this. I'll be showing this better. I'm just trying to make sure the multimeter is actually going to work here for what I want to do. It's not a new multimeter by any means. Okay, why are you doing that to me? Shouldn't be this for it. Should be voltage. Might have to clean the actual connectors on this multimeter. Like I said, it's not new by any means. Not sure if it's the moisture in the air or my actual connectors here are starting to go here. There's a way to tighten them, so maybe I'll do that. Should be able to set it to the 1.5 and the 9 volt section for it to test to see if the batteries are working correctly. But for some reason here, it's not giving me a reading. Come on, give me a reading. Very odd how it's not giving me a reading on the multimeter for the battery here. So I'm going to switch it over to continuous voltage mode here. Okay, I'm getting the 1.5 volts out of this battery still, so on continuous voltage mode. So I'm gonna take this off, see what kind of it needs for it here. Check to see if the actual battery on the multimeters are okay. Hey, how's it going? Just showing people right now how to use like a multimeter, and asking like if you ask a PC question, I can maybe answer or help you out with any kind of PC issues that you have. But just currently working on multimeter. I'm just gonna check the batteries because on the battery tester of 1.5 volt and 9 volt, it's not working for me. Holy. Looks like I actually need to grab a screwdriver too, which, give me 1 sec, it's just over there. Oh, how's your day going? Yeah, just taking the battery out of the multimeter here right now. Just to maybe give them a little spin, make sure they are good. It's an old multimeter. It's not a bad one, but it's just an old one. So maybe the battery is starting to go. The batteries usually last a long time though, generally. Fuse looks good in it too. Okay, so everything looks okay on it. Fuse is good. It's got a 10 amp fuse on it, so you can continuously run a 10 amp checker onto it for how long is this one? 10 amp, 15-second max, and 30 minutes max for just under 10 amp before the fuse blows, basically. So I'll let you know what you can and cannot do with the multimeter, which is nice. Now we can check. I've already checked my connectors. They're fine. Just trying to show how to use a multimeter, but the multimeter is not working on this setting for some reason. I don't get why, because you just negative to or neutral, negative, neutral, whatever, to positive. It's not giving me a reading here at all. There's no reading on this setting. I don't get why it's not. But if I do to like a continuous voltage readout, it works. A continuous voltage readout here. So we can switch it to the continuous voltage 20. So that way we can get an appropriate reading on a small battery, such as this one. And it gives me the appropriate voltage, which is good. 1.5, 1.57. Let's put it to 200 M. Let's see. Too low. 200. There we go. So read around for the appropriate voltage for it. It's reading 1.4, which is pretty close on what I need. So I'll keep it on the continuous voltage readout I just can't hold it on too long onto the actual battery. It could drain it a little bit. And it's for Dave. So if anyone knows that's watching, this is Dave. This is my humidity and temperature readout. That's what I use for my overclocking to make sure I get good validations on the temperature that I'm currently around and the actual moisture in the air, because that can affect a lot of things as well. Now I'm going to put this on the mic as gently as I can here. Hopefully we can get it so we can see it. Hey, there we go. So you can read that, right? And we can show, I don't know why it's reading 0.008. Multimeter might need to be like calibrated or something. It is older, so what we do is you're gonna take the neutral, negative, what I like to call for some reason, and then the positive. Same thing, battery, go from the negative to negative, positive to positive. It's on the continuous readout at 200, so that way it can get a appropriate readout. Oh, whoops, I'm not even on it. Yeah, this way it's easier. Let's give it a second to, yeah, see, it's not even giving me the appropriate readout. It was just giving me 1.4, which is technically correct. 1.5, 1.6, but it's not 1.6 because it's giving me the extra little bit, as you saw when I take away the connection. It's going to add into that, so that way it's not correct, but it's 1.5 volts, which means this battery is still good for a while. But the actual battery tester on this is it's not working the way I want. Should be able to switch this over to the 1.9, if you can read there. It should be on that setting to be able to test out the 1.5 volt batteries and the 9 volt batteries. But for some reason, it's not working. It's not reading anything. Which it should. It should let me know what it's actually doing. If it's actually at 1.4, 1.3 volts now, it should be at about 1.45 to 1.5 volts, but because it's a 1.5 volt battery, and then it'll start discharging as you use it. This battery is fairly new, and my actual temperature gauge here, it uses nothing for power, so this battery will last years. And it's only a AAA too. It'll last years. But I also got a fan here, and I'm not sure if this one has we won't call it a safety precaution, just in case the fan spins while there's no power to it and it won't generate power itself, because if you have a copper and magnets, that's a generator basically. So what I'm gonna do here is set it to 200 and now set to 200. Let's see if we can get a reading out of the fan. Now we gotta figure out which one's the actual power to power on this one. Oh, I can't. That's right. I can't actually do this right now. I don't want to cut. This is a really expensive Corsair magnetic levitating fan, so I don't want to cut the wire just to do this test. But I do have a power supply. And I would like to show that there could be a charge still in a power supply, and that's why power supplies are not safe for people to open up, because there could still be a hefty charge in them. But I also got the PCIe and a CPU and PCIe. So let's see which one here actually has the power. So if we put this to that to that, this to this, that to that. I have this set to a lower setting so that way we can get a better readout. Nope. Okay, so we'll set it straight to ohms then. We'll set it to 2K. We'll set it to 200 ohm. Let's see if we can get a readout here. We do. Okay, so we'll set it to 2K then because we actually get a readout. Okay, so as I hold it, it's going to discharge it, so that's why I'm going to set it. So we set it to 2K ohm, so 2K ohms on the actual multimeter here. And as I hold it, it'll start discharging the capacitors because there is about 5 volts or so still in this. So we'll set this here. I'll set that there. It's going to discharge, so it's probably not going to be going up to the 5. It'll just keep discharging. You can just watch. It will continuously discharge. The longer I hold on to it, should discharge actually. Should. For some reason, it doesn't want to discharge at all. I mean, there's pretty easy ways to discharge it. Just connect these here and try that again. See if it does a 1.33, 1.38. I don't know why it's not giving me. There we go, 1.38. And then we can discharge it some more by just connecting some pins on it. I need to find something that will actually hold that. Ow, my knee. So it's going to read. Let's see if we can read it at 200U. 200U should read out to. Hey, there's my headphones I was looking for. How are they in here? Whatever. Okay, we can go to the PCIe power as well. Check those out as well. See if we got anything on it. Should be like a 12 volt, but might not be the case. So we can't get a readout on that. Let's just go to 200 volt read. Well, not 200 volt, but 200 on the volt readout. Nothing, so we have to get it to the 200 on the continuous readout. Still nothing, so we have to give it to the ohms, which should give us something here. Should give us around the same readout. 4.38, yeah, same readout. And it'll just charge slowly on just using the multimeter here. But what I want to do is actually discharge this to show it actually going down, because that's what should happen as you discharge the capacitors. I should actually take apart the power supply, as I'm fairly cautious and I've taken apart power supplies before. It's not recommended to take apart a power supply because the capacitors hold a lot of charge and can hold the charge for quite some time. But you can discharge it yourself if you know what you're doing. Generally with the ground and the power, basically, you can discharge it. Again, it's not recommended to do, or not even recommended to take apart a power supply unless you are a professional or know what you're doing. It's not for recommended at home type of thing. But I'm going to find a piece of wire so that way I can discharge these capacitors. Because they are holding a little bit of volts, not crazy amount, not the 12 volts and the 3 volts and the 5 volt rails. But the one 5 volt rail is reading 1.38 volts still, so it still is holding a bit of a charge. Yeah, I need to find a razor. Oh, I got one there. Okay, so I got some gator clips here. Hopefully my buddy wanted to save these because these can actually help me discharge the capacitors a lot easier. I don't think we'll see any sparks, sadly. No shows, but just because the voltage is so low. Maybe on the 12 volt rail, but I don't think that will happen. Oh, there's 2 blades on that. And we'll just spin this up. So there's, like I said, gator clips here. And I'm just stripping the other end of the gator clips. And just twisting up the wires here so that way I can plug it into the actual motherboard plug-in here, and we can discharge some capacitors safely. Again, not recommended. Do not do at home. I do know what I'm doing with electrical. Okay, so we can go to ground, which should be the 4th pin over on the motherboard. And then we can go to basically any black wire, which black wire is right beside it. We'll hold those connectors away from each other for now. Okay. Yeah, spin this one up a little bit better here. Come on, get in there. There we go. Some black. Boom, boom. Doesn't really matter as long as we can touch the gator clip. So I got it connected to the motherboard pinout, which is the ground in the black, which actually turns on and off the power to the actual power supply to your to the power supply. So like if you use a jumper on the green and any black, it will turn on the actual power supply and give power to it if it's plugged in. But I'm just going to hold these together. I can just touch these, hold them together. Power supply is not plugged in, so it's not going to turn on or anything. If it was plugged in, it would turn on. But I could just touch these together, and it will discharge the battery. And because there's no like extreme voltage going through this, there's no show. There's no sparks or anything, which kind of sucks. I would have liked to see a little bit of a show, but there's not. And then we can take that out. We can grab the multimeter again. And we can check our rails. So we got different kind of rails on the power supplies. The 3 volt, 12 volt, and the 5 volt rails. And that's what powers your power. Whoa. Whoops. There we go. Not sure if that cut out on me too, just from doing that. Just trying to take a screenshot for some reason. So now what we can do is check again on the power side of this. Let's see if we can set its battery, because it should work for this as well. So there we go. We'll check this out, see if there's any readout. Nah, I think this mode doesn't work on this multimeter anymore, which kind of sucks. So we'll put it back to voltage readout here. These two at 200 or 20. Max of 20 volt. You can go up to 1,000 continuous at low amperage. The amperage can go to a 10 amp on this multimeter for 10 second on 1,000. We'll set it to 2K ohms then, because that doesn't want to read. And by the looks of it, it didn't discharge it much. At least not that rail. So we'll check the motherboard rail here. 2K, still good. Actually, we'll put it to 200 because we don't need to go that high. We got go to 4, 3. Nope, got a little bit higher then. A little bit higher on it, which is fine. No readout there, so what we'll do is go to black to red, which will be pinout like 12 and 11. Very difficult. This multimeter lost the pinout for it, so it's not the greatest. So we did discharge the actual 12 volt rail that goes to the motherboard, which is good. It's reading less than a volt now, so we did discharge it quite a bit there. We'll check out the CPU rail, which will be the 1.5. Oh, 3, but 5 volt rail there. Five volt rail. Still reading kind of high on that, which means I need to discharge it. I could discharge it though here, same way. The gator clips. And since it's 5 volt, there won't be any kind of show, which really does suck for everybody. I would like to see a show too. It's not high powered or anything like that. The capacitors are high powered, but they'll only discharge at a certain rate, which isn't much for this. And then what I can do too is connect the gator clips to my actual connectors here. Actually, no, these gator clips really suck, so maybe I won't do that. And I can recheck it to see if it's going to read out the appropriate amount of volts. Hey, now we're down to 0.2, 0.1, which is correct. So let's go 200U, see if we can read a little bit lower of a reading on that. Okay, so we'll go to 20M then. 20 micro. Nothing. Ohms, we can set it to 2K ohm readout. And it's still the because it's gonna go through the actual capacitors reading with the 2K ohm readout. It'll let me know what the capacitor is and what rail it is, and it should be the 5 volt, which will be like, it's not exactly 5 volt. It'll be plus or minus, right? There's a plus or minus 5% on them. Now, it also depends on the capacitor. You can get plus or minus 1% with certain capacitors, but this is not an expensive power supply. So we're reading 4.38, 4.4. I can show that too on that for use. Hopefully you guys can see that just fine. And I'll show you when I connect these onto the neutral and the power. It's going to send a voltage through this to the actual capacitor itself, and then it'll let me know what the capacitor is. If we hold it long enough, it'll go up to 4.4-ish, which is correct. It's correct. This is a, like I said, plus or minus 5%, or I'm pretty sure this is a plus or minus 5% on the capacitor, but higher end capacitors are plus or minus 1%. So I go to 4.4 now. Close enough then. Again, it's on the 5-volt rail there. So what we can do is go and try to find the 12-volt rail, which will be for Molex. So here's the Molex. So Molex, if you know PC stuff, Molex is 12 volt. Oh, we gotta need to set that to a different readout. Come on, give me the readout. And it's not giving me the readout that I want. Voltage readout. Set to 200. 2000 M. It's not giving me the readout I want. $27, that's not correct. $27's not correct. Why are you reading out that? Plus minus. This should also be the same, but those connectors are terrible. They're too small. Again, I should just be able to go here, here. $27. It's reading 27. Shouldn't be reading 24. There's some power supplies have a 24 volt out, which I'm getting 24, but that's not correct. This should be a 12 volt out. Not unless this has it's for the Molex for 24 out. I'll check the actual power supply. Oh, yeah, that's right. This one doesn't have it. Which means I have to actually check inside. Maybe I will take it apart then. So it is flipped over to the 15. I know this power supply did have an issue with the Molex connectors and the SATA connectors. So maybe I'll check the SATA as well to see if there's an issue with that. not even getting a readout on this one. Yeah, I'm getting... Maybe there's a blown capacitor in there because I'm reading the 24, which would be correct on some power supplies, but those are older power supplies that had the 24 volt rail. And that's not what this is. This is a... Oh no, yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter that maybe the actual switch for switching from 220 to the 110, 115, 110, for depends on what part of the world it's shipped to. You can switch some power supplies from 220 to 110, and maybe the actual switch is not working correctly, because if not, it'd be reading out twice the amount of power that it's actually doing just from it, because 220 it would downgrade the power or make it so that way it can work with your power, like 12 volt rail, the 5 volt rail, and the 3.3 volt rail. And SATA is 12. It should be a 12 volt. Molex should be 12 volt, but I'm not getting that either. I'm getting 24, which I'm trying to figure out why. So I'll switch the actual power supply to here. So it's 115 on this, but 110 for 110 volt. Then we got 230, which is 220 technically, but they have it as 230 for some reason. And we'll see if that actually changes. If it doesn't change, there's something wrong with that. Yeah, so there's something wrong with that switch. So when I was using this power supply, it was making a crazy humming. Humming noise usually is either something's going wrong with it or something is wrong with the actual power supply. So maybe I will take apart this power supply because it's a thermal take power supply. Not a new one. It's their T something. Their TT 500 watt switching power supply. So there's different kind of power supplies, and this one's a switching power supply. So it uses an actual switch, the monitor, and switch in and out the actual voltage very quickly onto whatever hertz. So generally 60 hertz is what it's usually doing for electronics to make sure everything's running correctly. Maybe I'll take it apart and check out the actual switching mechanisms that are in it. Nowadays we got what do you want to call it? The PCB. The actual PCB controls the actual switching mechanism on it, which is not a switching mechanism. It's all the SMDs and capacitors are in a series to make the actual current that's going to that rail even. And it's a little bit more precise than the switching, because the switching it's just an older mechanism basically for power supplies. This is not a new one. There is issues with this power supply. Like I said, the humming noise would make it so that way there is, and it only hums when there's a power going to from the SATA connector, not the Molex or anything like that. So maybe that would be the issue. And humming is usually because there's too much power going through it, and I'm reading the 24 volts on that rail when I should be reading 12. So that can make sense. It means it's being overpowered, or it's the capacitor's probably gone in it, and it's allowing too much voltage through it. But there should be a safety mechanism in power supplies. Even if they're older ones, there should be a safety mechanism to make it so that way it turns off or never turns on if there's an issue like that, because that could actually harm your SSD, your motherboard, your GPU, or even the CPU, or even the RAM. So that's odd. So that's why I haven't been using this power supply though, because yeah, there's issues with it. Maybe I will plug it in and show the humming, because you might be able to hear it. I do have noise suppressors on this, not the actual like this noise suppressor, like software noise suppressor on this. So maybe I'll take off that so that way you can actually hear the humming. It is quite loud and only hums when you plug in to the SATA, and that makes sense. That's starting to make sense. I actually haven't checked this out, so maybe that is the issue. But what I do with old power supplies is I'll take the fans out of them and I'll cut all the wires off so that way it can get scrapped. So this one's probably done for. I don't do any work on power supplies because, again, they're not safe to work on. Even if you know what you're doing on discharging capacitors, they can still hold a charge. So if you try to disassemble the actual PCB that everything is held onto, like the capacitors and anything like that, you touch it wrong, you can get shocked severely. So maybe I'll do that. I'm gonna just cut all the wires off this power supply here. They're only these are 18 or 16 AUG. I'm not sure exactly what size. I'm pretty sure these are 16 AUG connectors, and these are 18 AUG and these are 16 AUG onto the actual motherboard pinout, 24 pinout. So maybe I'll do that. Just cut it off, take out the fan because fans cost money, and it works. Kind of sucks though, but couldn't really show a whole lot either, which also sucks. I do have another fan here, little server fan here that I could show about. If you have any kind of copper coil with a magnet, so again, it's basically a generator. If you're spinning it and if there's no power going through this, if it doesn't have a safety mechanism that's in it, generally these more expensive, like this Corsair magnetic levitating fan, has a safety precaution. So let's say wind goes by and your PC's off and it spins, it could generate an actual power that goes to the fan header on your motherboard, which could actually damage things. So maybe I'll take this. I gotta take the grill off of it, the protective grill, and then show the actual. So I don't mind cutting the. Oh, I actually got a spot where I can show, or as long as they're not covered in any kind of hot glue, which these aren't. They're bare connectors by the looks of it. Bare solder connectors here on this. So you can probably maybe see the. There we go. See the solder connectors there. I could just touch those, spin the fan. If I get a readout of a voltage, then yeah, there's no safety precaution on this. But usually the new fans do have a built-in safety precaution that's in it, so that way if it does generate any kind of power without power going through it, then yeah, it could save your PC fan header. But I'm not cutting my really expensive magnetic levitating fan wire just to show. There's no bare wires on this one showing, or bare solder connectors. But this server fan right here, it does have bare, so I can actually show it. And I guess I could turn Dave back on here. Come on, Dave. Go. Oh, we're at 21 degrees in here. It's warming up fast today. It's crazy how fast it warmed up. And I've got the multimeter all back together. Guess I could also move the camera down over. So just putting back together the multimeter. Just the rubberized protective cover on it because I checked the batteries and they're good to go. So yeah. There we go. If you're new to the channel, how's it going? I'm just going over some multimeter things, and I'm going to be showing the generating power of a fan. This one shouldn't have any safety precautions, so it should generate power if I spin the fan. Yeah, I'm just showing a little bit about this, and yeah, good morning. Hopefully you're having a good day. I gotta take off the fan grill though, so that way I can hand spin the fan on this as well, so that way I can show the voltage readout because it should generate power. It should generate power on these ones because it doesn't have a safety precaution. Generally, server fans are always running 100, like 24/7, right? So I need to grab a bigger. Work. So this one should work here. So I can get this fan grill off and finger protector because these server fans got some power and they, yeah, if you put your finger or something near it, it's gonna hurt or it's gonna really hurt, one or the other. Maybe a small fan, but this one has a lot of power. I think it's a 5,000 RPM or higher. Go. Now I can spin it. Oh, what should I be able to do? I don't think the battery mode will work for it, but we can try it. It'd be quite difficult to test this though. This multimeter is missing. It's missing a portion of it. But there's bare spots here on solder, so yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to do this. So put that in there. That works. But this one's missing the actual tip for it. It's broken off by the looks of it. So I have to, maybe I can grind it down. Grind it down quickly here. Hey, I do have my grinding stone right there. Alright, this should work. So I do have a grinding stone. This is more of a polishing stone for tile. So there's two sides to it, a rougher and a really fine grinding stone for the edge of tiles if you're trying to do some specialty tile work. It's quite nice to have. Oh yeah, that works real good. And I don't use the edge of this for my tile work that I do. So, not an issue to do. Just gotta make a tip on this. It's missing it. Maybe I'll check on Amazon to see if there's any tips for multimeters or new connectors at least. Hopefully that doesn't sound terrible over the mic if you can actually hear that. Doesn't sound all that good. And yes, I am slightly spinning it every time I do that, so that way it's fairly even. Get a nice little tip back onto it. Just part, and I'll clean the other side off here. There we go. Now I can plug this into this side. There. It actually fits into the actual plugs that I need. Let's spin this up. No way. Let's go 200. Ohm readout, make sure everything's good. Let's get 2K. Come on. I'm gonna have to go higher on the ohms to read. There shouldn't be a safety on this one. Maybe there is. Let's go 200K ohm. 2000K ohm. Nothing, really. Oh, maybe there is a safety on this one. Oh. Let's go reverse. Let's reverse it. See if there's anything. Continuous volt readout. Oh, okay. So we do get something. 0.01 volts. That's awesome. Okay, so we can get 0.01 volts. It's always gonna read the 0.8 for some reason, but technically we're getting 0.07 volts out of it. So here I'll show. Hopefully that's not too loud. I really don't like doing this on the mic. So this multimeter needs to be probably calibrated somehow. I'm not sure how to calibrate more properly, but 0.08 right now. That was only 0.04 volts. I can't spin it very fast, so it's... Let's go reverse. Let's see if reverse does the same. Yeah, reverse does the same. And it's too heavy for my mic stand, so... Let's tighten that up a bit. There we go. But yeah, we do get... I can get 0.04 volts out of it. Ugh. Yeah, that's all I can get though. 0.04. I can only spin for so much. Ready? 0.04. And this is like a 6,000 or maybe 5,000, at least 5,000 plus RPM fan. So you gotta spin it really fast to get the 12 volts out of it. But this does not have a safety precaution because that shouldn't move at all. That's as fast as I can spin it. So if I get a way to spin this faster, think. I don't know anything that would help me out, especially with this style of fan. Like, you got to use quite a bit of force. It's a big magnetic head on to it with the copper coil on this one. So, but yeah, we can get 0.04 volts out of it at least. And that just shows that this does not have a safety precaution. And it's a server fan, an older server fan at that. Kind of makes sense because server fans are always running. But that's all I can get, 0.04. Let's see. Like, even with the ohms down to a 200, we might read a little bit better on that. But it has to be continuously for a while. Nah, I won't be able to read out. Let's do 200K or 2,000. Nah. I can't get a readout. M, 2,000 micros. Yeah, I'm just only getting the 0.04 volts out of it. Best I can do. 0.04. Kind of sucks. Need a way to spin this fan faster so I can show how much generating power it has, because there's no safety precaution in it. And that's why these newer fans and more expensive fans have an actual built-in so that way it's not reversible. The power is not reversible on it. It's only a direct current, and you cannot reverse it. Direct current DC, but that's pretty cool though. It actually does show. I actually like that. Oh, new subscriber. Thank you for subscribing. If you want a message in the chat, you can. That's pretty cool though. And I did check out the power supply. This power supply does have issues, like I said, like it has a really nasty hum, and usually hums are coil winds. So I know that this power supply has issues when I use the actual SATA connector on it, and it will start making the humming off of that. What I read out of it was twice the amount of voltage that should have been out of it. So this also has, it's also a switching power supply, so an older, so the PCB doesn't handle any of the actual switching. It's an actual mechanism that's put onto the PCB that the current goes through, and then it gets switching into an actual 60 hertz. But it doesn't matter if you set it to European style or whatever, to the 220 volt, or even the Canadians or US, the 110. It's 115 on this and 230 on European for some reason. But the 110 or that, it's still reading out 24 volts, which shouldn't be. It should read out 12. And it doesn't matter what I use. European style is more efficient, as in you can put more power through it and be more efficient with the power. 110 is not as efficient, but it's a little safer to work with. As in, like, if you touch wires accidentally, you're not going to actually kill yourself with 110. 220, there's a bigger chance of killing yourself. A little safer with the way we do it, but it's not as efficient, and we need to switch out to 220 because people shouldn't be touching electricity that don't know electricity to begin with. Like I said, do not do anything about power supplies. Do not open a power supply. Do not work with a power supply. Use it as the manufacturer intended, because the capacitors can hold a charge for a very long time. If you accidentally do touch the capacitors in one of the power supplies, it could let off all of its leftover charge right into you all at once, and that could either harm or kill you. I wonder what else I can test out. I know I've already tested out my GT240, EVGA GT240 graphics card. I checked the fuse and SMDs. Everything's appropriate out of that. The fuse allows the correct amount of current through it, so it's actually reading. So that's fine. I'll just give it a clean. I give that graphics card a clean because it has been in storage. So I'll give it a clean, see if it works after that. And I just use water, basically. I haven't been dropping a whole lot of frames though this stream, so I'm actually kind of happy about that. Might have got some settings set up a little bit better. Just because it's not... the internet's fairly good. It is Starlink, but out in the country and that's not as good as what it should be. Yeah, it's a little bit of multimeter stuff today. I did have another stream where I did some multimeter stuff as well, but today was a little bit more of it. Where's my coffee? Wow. Hope everyone's having a good day, good night, depending on where you are. But here it is day. It's about 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Let's get a check hardware bot here. If you want me to show the hardware bot, just let me know. If you're trying to get into PC overclocking, let me know. Or just, if any questions at all, let me know. I know a thing or two about a thing or two. Not just PC hardware. I do know quite a bit about other things as well. Canada's still in 5th place. I do need to do some more overclocking on the X5570 so that way I can get my score up as well. That would also help out Canada a little bit. So I need to get some more hardware submissions in. Global would be nice too, get more global, as in best of the best of a certain hardware. Or certain cores on CPUs, certain GPUs as well. Yeah, so we had quite a bit of challenges. That's okay. That's okay. Generally, you'll just see the skipping of frames, and that was bad. I lost during that 3.5 hours, I lost over 20,000 frames. I've been streaming for an hour and almost a half now. I've only dropped 901, so that's pretty good. I'm at 60 frames a second too, so. Although I'm reading out more kilobytes per second than what I set it as. I set it to 2,000 kilobytes per second because that's all I need, but it's at like 2,700 kilobytes per second. So I don't know why it's doing that, but it is. I'm cool with it because everything seems to be working. My percentage of drop frames is 0.3. Yesterday was over 5% drop frames, so it wasn't that great. Oh, I need tons of hardware. Tons. That's me though. I'm an enthusiast. I love old hardware, new hardware. I do need to get more into Ryzen and AMD, right? So I do need some Ryzen stuff, but I just don't have the money for it to just switch over to it. And then I need to get the time as well. So I have to spend more of my weekends and late nights voltage tuning, learn their Infinity Fabric for their RAM. For RAM overclocking. Apparently, it is a lot better to overclock on the newer AMD than it is for Intel, but I have probably close to 2 or 3,000 hours of overclocking DDR5 on Intel, and I do have some really good scores on it. But yeah, I would always love more and more hardware just so I can test it, so I can add it into what I want to do. Actually, I can show you guys here. I can show you. I'll just make Bubblehead me. So we'll do a filter here. Image blend. Browse. Good to go. Where's my good to go? Where's my good to go? The ladybugs are bad this week for how hot it is. They're biting. They're biting bad. Where is it? It should be right here. But yeah, always want more hardware. It's just trying to find good prices. There's a lot of people. I like EVGA for their older graphics cards and just their graphics cards in general. People are selling some GTX 960s, some GTX 660s, some GTX 770s, I believe, for like $10-15. So maybe I'll spend the money. I don't really want to right now because I don't have it used now. That is not the one. It's good to go. I know it's good to go. Where's the good go? Good to go. Good to go. Good now. That's not the one. That's not the one. There it is. Close. Alright, bubblehead me. Make that a bit smaller. But that's me though. I'm a hardware enthusiast, right? So I gotta have as much hardware as possible. It's just also for storage and that too. Making sure everything's safe for storage. Yeah. Like for actual testing, I would like to get into, like I said, liquid nitrogen or dry ice. So I do need to get some dewars. I need to get like GPU blocks that are good for dry ice or liquid nitrogen, liquid helium. But I'm not getting into liquid helium. I need actual like people that know what they're doing as well to help me out, because liquid helium is extremely cold and it's very sensitive to work with, and you need people. You need people. You need a lot of people that know what they're doing. I would like to get into that someday too. But I need, yeah, CPU blocks that are good for liquid nitrogen and dry ice. I need uh, memory blocks for CPU and liquid nitrogen as well. I'll go into my hardware. Oh, my hardware. Thank you. There we go. Yeah, I am in Canada. I'm Canadian. You're a fellow Canadian, nice. And I'm sorry to hear that you had a stroke. I do have family members of my own that also had a stroke years ago as well, and they're technically not the same, but they try their best, and they're still good people. So that's the main thing. I don't know if I can take it for free or anything. Like, there's got to be some sort of charge, man. I would like to say I would take it for free, but I'm not gonna do that to somebody, especially if someone could use a couple of bucks as well. So we'll go over my processors. I got 14 different processors so far in my total of what I've used. Again, as you can see, it's all Intel. I do have AMD CPUs. I just don't have any validated tests. And I have used AMD, like the FX Bulldozers, 8150, and their Phenoms. I would love to have Santa ship me some stuff. But shipping right now, depending on where you are, is absolutely insane, man. It's absolutely insane right now. I am in Ontario, so I have 19 graphics cards in this. These should actually not be separated. Well, yeah, no, these ones shouldn't be separated. Should all be EVGA. I don't know why these have separated themselves. But yeah, these are all some tests I've done with graphics cards, and it's also with integrated as well, like HD 2000s, HD 4000s, and UHD, which is on the newer 12th gen UHD 770s. But I also have vintage graphics cards, like the, oh, where is it? Oh, that's right. I don't have any scores on my vintage, close to vintage graphics cards like the GeForce 9600 GT, the 9800 GT. Where's my 8600? How come I don't have my 8600 on this? There should be a test with my 8600. Apparently not. GT 1070. I got 52 submissions on that. Hey, how's it going there, Frosty? Hopefully you're having a good day there. Motherboards. I do have a few motherboards on the list as well. This Dell is a cheap one. This Acer's a cheap one. Still a good motherboard. Nothing wrong with it. It's just cheap. Cheap green, non-overclockable motherboard, basically. This Intel DX58SO. I do have two of those ones. One's not working because the capacitor blew on me. I can easily fix that though, so I'll fix that up. A Zeus P6 X58, which is also an LJ1366 motherboard. I have more submissions with it because it's a better motherboard to overclock on. You can put basically as much voltage as you want through the memory and the CPU channels, so it's kind of nice. This Intel S55 is another cheap motherboard. Sabertooth Z77 is for my i5 2400s, i5 2600s, or i7 2600s, and my 3770K. That's why I have 47 submissions on that. My Z390 Phantom Gaming 4S, 86 submissions that had my i7 8700K onto it. And I do believe I had a couple on 8600 as well. But this motherboard is not recommended. You can only put so many voltages through the memory channel. And if you're running like Samsung B die for DDR4, you need to have over 1.4 volts, so that way you can get a really, really good stable overclock on them. And this motherboard limits it to 1.35 volts. Kind of sucks. Z690 Oris Master, of course, there's a lot on that one, almost 300 submissions. That's just due to having the 12600K, 12900K, and my 13900KF. Plus, all the different RAM kits I put through it, and a bunch of other things. But yeah, this is a really good motherboard. I don't know if I got lucky with this motherboard. I do have some really, really good scores on it, some like first place onto it. Memory as well. This motherboard, you shouldn't be able to get the kind of frequencies I have with it, but I got some really good memory frequencies out of it. 40 or 8200 mega transfers per second, which is really good. You need usually like a 2-DIMM motherboard to be hitting those speeds. And I did it with my 12600K too, so. This is what I had to put the primary timings to. So it's saying 3400. It's not at 3400. It's at 8200 mega transfers or 4100 megahertz. Or mega transfers. We say mega transfers now. We switched over RAM from megahertz to mega transfers. Because it's not technically a 1-to-1. And it's not really hertz. It's transfers. It's how many transfers you can do per second. So CL42, 54, 54, 130 at T2 timing. And that's how I was able to get that. DM later. Yeah, I can figure out. Can I click? Can I do anything on my phone? No, I can't. Oh, yeah, I can. Yes, and I am looking for moderators. So if you have joined my streams from a while back and I've noticed that you are a very honest, loyal person, I am looking for moderators for my channel. So that way, if there's anyone that, let's say I'm looking away from the chat and there's people that are just being, I don't know, they're just not rude or whatnot, swearing. I do have certain things set on for swearing, so that way it can't be said because it'll go into a validation. My chat, I would like to keep swearing out of, by the way. So I am looking for moderators. So if you generally join my streams and that, have notification on and get a join, I will be adding people as moderator if you would like to be one. Same thing with Discord. That's why I got rid of my Discord channel for this YouTube as well. I got rid of the Discord channel just because I was not being able to moderate as much as I should have been. And people were saying a bunch of things that are false. And I need to keep things as truthful as possible. And they need to know what I'm talking about as well for certain things. So, and if you watch my channel, you just know what I'm about, basically. And I do need to have moderators for my Discord. That's why I want to get some moderators, some honest, trustworthy people, basically. But yeah, for this motherboard, you can see, there's a lot of submissions for this motherboard. Basically every test except for Catzilla. For some reason, Catzilla 4K, I can't seem to submit it. I just can't do submissions on it. I don't know how to, for some reason. And then 3D Mark Firestrike GPU. I'm not sure. I should have a score on that. Apparently not. Have you? Okay. Yeah, you are generally in my streams as well. And I've noticed that you are a very honest person as well. So if you would like to, I can set that up as well. Just don't abuse the privilege, of course. It seems like you know what you're talking about as well. So that's the main thing, is you gotta know what you're talking about. Or at least what I'm talking about. Because there's so many things that go into PC overclocking or just PC hardware to begin with. I do know a lot about a lot, even though I haven't actually worked with it. I've read up onto it. I've read forums. I go on to the actual manufacturer's pages to check out exactly what they are allowing and tolerating for their CPUs and GPUs and RAM and motherboards. I do have a record on this. That's nice. My Solar Bay and Speedway, I got the record for the 37 Ti. My 37 Ti is modded, so I was able to get a really good score. 4,355, legendary, of course. CPU is at 1.34 volts, which is actually correct. This CPU is really good. It was actually really good. I was really happy with it. A lot of people are saying, oh, you need to crank it up to like 1.5, 1.6 volts to get it around 5.96 gigahertz. Nah, you don't. You don't. You just need to tune it a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, it's up around 6800 XT. 6900 XT, it beats 6900 XTs, and it's just around 6900 XT. It's a 3070 Ti. Okay, I'm not going to show that on the actual chat here. Like I said, I have it somewhat moderated on the actual chat, so it won't show it. I'm not going to show it, but I am going to add you on Discord there, Frosty. I don't have the Discord channel right now set up, so you'll have to wait until after the stream. But if I can get, yeah, a couple moderators for the Discord as well that have been on my streams and are trustworthy, and you are, so I've noticed. And we'll set that up. I just have to figure out how to add again. Yeah, a lot of friend requests I haven't checked of. Oh shoot, am I showing the... I am. Whoops. I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be showing the actual Discord. You gotta keep certain things private, right? I forgot how to add people. Shoot. Give me 1 second here. Actually, I'll make my bobblehead a little bit bigger here too, so that way it doesn't look too weird. Friend requests. Friends? Come on. I think. Oh, there we go. Add. There it is. I figured it out. Yay. There, I sent it. And then I'll check back up on that later after the stream. I might stream a bit later. Ooh, I lost a little bit more frames there. Hopefully that didn't look terrible. But it's not even close to being as bad as it was, so I'm quite happy about that. I do have the CPU usage up a little bit more as well, and I was encoding off of the actual CPU, which is X264. Now I'm actually encoding off the GPU, which is it's just better off the 3070 Ti. The encoder's really good on it. That's why I got it. So now we can set this. Make that a little bit smaller. And we can get that back. Boom. There we go. I'm just going to hide that, so we don't have to go back to it. There. Reference frequency. I'm 1 of 1. No one has done any of the motherboard overclocking on the Z690 Aorus Master. So I was able to get 1.3 out of it. I'm pretty sure I can get up to 106, but I don't want to go any higher than 1.3 really, because again, motherboard overclocking can affect other things. And I don't have a certain CPU, so there's certain CPUs that you can put into these, like the G60, G6000 or something like that, right around there. I don't know. I don't use those dual core CPUs, but you can overclock them too on these motherboards now. Intel made it so that way you can overclock them without using FSB. Oh wait, I didn't want that. There we go. Again, the competition for Country Cup here is going to be starting in about 9 days now. Yeah, 9 days, 18 hours, and 19 minutes. So I have been making sure I got some things set up for it. Certain CPUs, certain GPUs, certain motherboards, certain frequencies allowed, RAM as well. If you've ever done this, by the way, the hardware bot competitions, or even hardware bot overclocking your PC, either through like I said, you got 3D Mark Vantage. Well, I can put it down here. 3D Mark Vantage. Wow, you can't read it. 3D Mark Vantage, 3D Mark 11, 3D Mark 03, 3D Mark 2001 Second Edition. You got your Benchmate as well here. So Benchmate, whoa. So you got your Benchmate here as well. That has a whole bunch of tests, GPU and CPU more or less. CPU and memory as well tests. Then if you go onto your Steam, I don't mind showing my Steam. So you can just go on Steam. You can download 3D Mark. I have the one-time purchase for professionals, so any new tests that come out that you might have to pay for, I get it for free. I'm not sure if they have that still in effect. This was years ago when I got it, so 3D Mark right here if you do want to do it. 3D Mark. You can download 3D Mark. I know you can do Time Spy. I'm not sure if you do Time Spy Extreme. You can do Fire Strike. Pretty sure you can't do any Extreme or anything like that, but you can do some pretty basic tests that you can submit to hardwarebot.org, and you can be a participant on some things. But yeah, there's a lot of tests you can do. There's also Geekbench. So yeah, Geekbench 3, Geekbench 2.4, Geekbench 4, and Geekbench 6. Geekbench 3. I can run the Geekbench 3. It's a really quick test, just to show you a little bit about it. And then I can do 64 or 32. I've donated or paid for it because it does help out the actual people that made these tests. So I like to contribute to that kind of thing. It's only like $6 or $4 for US. It's very cheap. So you can do that. 64-bit, if you run it 64-bit on Windows, it is better to run. It gives you a little extra points just because, yeah. And then also because when you pay for it, you can run the test without Wi-Fi. If you don't have a paid version, you have to be on Wi-Fi, which you lose some points with Wi-Fi running. So that way it's an easier validation. Computer is not really overclocked right now, so I can run this test while streaming no problem. If it's overclocked though, if you start overclocking the RAM and the CPU on this while running this test, you gotta make sure things are stable, because as soon as you hit like the SFFT and the DFFT, also N-body, ray trace isn't too bad. You could crash, or it'll just stop working the test. And that's how you know things aren't as stable. But this is the basic score you'll get for a 12600K with some decent normal speeds on RAM. This is the score you'll get. Right around 6,800 for single and almost 50,000 on multi. And then what I also like is the memory score. So memory, because it's not overclocked at all, is only almost at 8,000. When you know how you know you have really good memory, overclock too is by running this test, and you should be around 13,000 or 14,000. So I can literally double the amount of points just by overclocking my RAM. This is Hynix M die, so I can tune the secondary timings extremely tight. And it's not Hynix A die, so I don't need to crank the voltage. I actually lower the voltage from XMP. XMP is 1.4, and I usually run 1.325 or 1.35 volts on my RAM when I overclock it, and it gives me more stable. Because Hynix M die only likes to go to a certain temperature, like 40 degrees Celsius is where it likes to be maxed. Hynix A die, you can go up to like 70 degrees Celsius and it's okay. And I will be right back. If there's any questions or that, let me know. I will be right back. Ooh, I am back. Let's see. That's the Country Cup, hardware, memory. I got 58 submissions for my Samsung DDR3. That's the Samsung D die for DDR3. Samsung 58. Patriot. So my Patriot Vipers, Samsung B die, which is really good. There's only one for the Viper Steel, but these are Patriot Viper Steel 4000 megahertz kits that you can get. 16 gigabyte, 2x8. I got a bunch of submissions for that one. And memory frequency in that. So the maximum I was able to get was 2150, and you just got to times that by 2. Times that by 2, and you get the actual speed. So 4300. It's okay. I had to do CL 1919 though on it, so it's not very good for that. But because of the motherboard I had, not really the CPU. The CPU was pretty good. For the motherboard I had, which was right here, the Phantom Gaming 4S. Like I said, you can only go to 1.35 volts onto the memory, and to be able to tighten these timings, the primary timings, you have to have more voltage, and I should be able to get more speed too out of them. Why? Oh no, I was able to get 44. Why is it two different ones though? Yeah, I was able to get 4400 out of it, out of my Vipers. Oh, I didn't put enough details into it. That's why I didn't put the GPU that I was using or the motherboard, anything like that. That's why it's separate. I was able to get 4400 out of them, which is pretty good. Pretty good for 1.35 volts. It's really good. 450th place, so it's not the greatest, of course, but because like we're gonna be talking people that are on liquid nitrogen, like right here, liquid nitrogen. Should be around some liquid nitrogen, yeah, beating some liquid nitrogen scores, because they're probably not on Samsung B die. Samsung B die for DDR4 is what you gotta be at. For like certain tests though, SuperPi here. SuperPi likes to have really good RAM, and for your actual CPU core frequency for SuperPi. So I was able to do 4300 onto it, CL 1919 at 5 gigahertz on an i7 8700K. Max temperature was 46. Pretty good. Again, I sold actually this CPU, and I sold all these motherboards. I had two for some reason at first because it was a good deal on these motherboards. I bought two of them thinking they'd be fairly decent because it's a Z390, but no, you couldn't update the BIOS on it. You couldn't do anything to get more voltage onto the actual memory channel. Kind of sucked, but it is what it is. I'll always probably get a different motherboard later on. We'll go back to my hardware. I do have one disk, which is my 980 Pro. Two submissions here. So Geekbench 3 single core and my storage benchmark. Storage benchmark was okay, 2625. And 58th place overall. So 980 Pros, Firecudas are up there too. The Western Digital Black SN750s are actually a pretty good NVMe as well. And then you got your Sabrent Rocket right here, which I have talked about in my last one as well. It's pretty good for longevity for those NVMEs, and they're not a half bad price. The 980 Pros are really expensive. Doesn't matter if you get the 500 gig, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte like I have. They're not cheap for what they are. But I have zero issues with it, with almost 14,000 hours on it, so zero issues, zero errors, zero. It's perfect. But yeah, Dan, I will definitely send you a message, and hopefully you're holding up good and things are going good for you after your stroke. Let's see here. Like I said, in other tests, I like Y Cruncher. Y Cruncher is a good one to test. I haven't done 25B. You need to have a lot of RAM to be able to run that. So, no 10B either because I don't have enough. But I do have 5B, which is a longer test. I've done it with my 13900 KF, a minute and 42 seconds, and my 12600K was 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Both 5th place for personal best. Pretty good. Quite happy with the score. I didn't get enough time with my 13900 KF, sadly, after the direct die breaking it, but it was a really good CPU. Very, very difficult to keep cool though. Like you basically gotta lap the IHS, lap the cooler, and it's basically gotta be water cooled to overclock or even have a decent temperature even at stock. And that was with the, as you see the background, this is the Country Cup 2023, which I'll be doing the Country Cup 2024 this year. Hopefully help out Canada a little bit more here. And like I said before, I am still 5th place overall in Canada. For my league, I am 1st place. As you can see, Cold Canadians, and I am Luger. I'm currently in 1st place. Have been most this year. I've been 1st place. Been trying to keep up on it. But for all leagues, 5th place overall, it's pretty good. Salty Croissants, he's amazing. He's at it almost every single day, trying to get global points and hardware points. And check out the season. No. Check out the competition for. I haven't done any other like G skill. I don't have G skill RAM, so you have to have G skill RAM to be in this, I believe. i5 6600K. I wouldn't mind an i5 6600K and a GTX 770. I have been looking at some GTX 770s and 680s, 670s, 660s as well. Sempron 145. I do believe I have a Sempron somewhere. AMD Radeon HD 6870. I don't have. I have the 5490, I believe. So I do need to get some more newer but older graphics cards like the HD 6000s and up. You need to make some room. Yeah, if you're like me, I throw stuff out. I don't throw PC stuff out. I generally fix it, or if I can't fix it, I put it into my drawer of shame. But some motherboards I buy used, and I just can't get them running. I just take off components off them, like capacitors, especially the Nichicon capacitors. Those are the really ones I like to use for adding on to graphics cards because it can help stability. I gotta figure out how to message you though after this live stream. Probably won't be streaming much longer here. I do need to get moving. I threw my back out the other day and it's quite sore still. I haven't been getting much sleep. It's just been brutal. My back has not been liking me. And like I said before in the other stream, there's no good chiropractors around right now where I am. At least not my old chiropractor. He was insanely good. He was in his 80s and he did it for like close to 60 years. So he was really good. But his daughter took over and I generally see her. But I haven't been to a chiropractor in a couple of years now, so I should probably go get a checkup and see how my back is doing. I do have a actual bad back. I have a L1S6, so it's an extra vertebrae in your spine. It happens to like 0.6% of males. More females, but females don't get issues generally from the actual issue, and mine's not fully formed, which again, not good to have a bone in your spine that's not fully formed. I can sneeze and throw my back out, but what I was doing was I was trying to fix up a door for my buddy, and I just figured I could lift it up. I didn't really brace myself all that well, and when I lifted it up, the door shifted and put all of its weight onto me. So yeah. As soon as it happened, I was like, I'm pretty sure I just threw out my back. So I quickly tried to fix the door, got it all fixed up, and then yeah, hobbled my way back to the house, and it started stiffening up on me, and yeah, it sucked. It really sucked. Um, How long have I been streaming for? Over 2 hours. Dropped 3,000 frames. Not even close to the other. Okay, so I might have fixed the issue with the frame dropping, which is kind of nice. 3,000 frames dropped in 2 hours actually isn't terrible. I'm not connected, like actually hardwired into the internet, so you drop frames no matter what. If I was connected, I might drop a frame or two just due to the actual computer. Yeah, it's not good. I've been going to a chiropractor since I was 12. Figured out I had a back issue after, if you ever know about trampolines and getting a double bounce. Well, I was trying to do a triple backflip on a trampoline when I was younger, 12 years old, by my brother and my sister, and they double bounced me, and my back did like a weird movement basically, and I couldn't move, and it took a lot. They thought I had issues with my kidneys. They thought I had issues with my liver because of my where I was saying the pain was, but there was no issues. It's like literally took over a year to figure out what was wrong. Um, the doctors couldn't see any issues with my X-rays with my spine, but they took the X-rays to like the chiropractor I was talking about. Uh, an older gentleman that was doing it for about 60 years. As soon as he put it up, he's like, right there, that's the issue. He has the exact same issue as my dad, so it's an extra vertebrae that wasn't fully formed. And ever since, I've been going to a chiropractor. If I brace myself and I do things appropriately, I'll never have to see a chiropractor. But I kind of messed up, so it was on me. It was on me. And yeah, I'm hoping I feel better too. I would like to get a bit better sleep than I have been for the past 2 days. I might be ending the stream here soon though. I gotta get up and move so that way I don't uh, tense up and get some back spasms because that's what will happen. So, and I would like to get some stuff cleaned up, like organize some more totes of stuff, go through a bunch of wiring for my PCs, and there's so many different variations. Plus, I want to go through different kind of changers, so like HDMI to VGA or DVI. I would like to have a stream about that. I have like a whole box full of them, so I would like to go through some of those, and it's gonna take me a while because, yet I am pretty sore. Oh, thank you very much. I will definitely get back to you on that there, Dan. And then maybe later on today, I'll have the stream for the Xeon giveaway for that kind of stream. This one's not. Maybe later on today I will, though. It was a good turnout yesterday for viewers, so I would like to do that. And it'll be part 2, so day 2 of that, so be awesome. Frosty. Frosty, since I'm here and you're here, did you want to be a moderator for this channel, as in moderate the actual chat? I do have certain moderations set in place already, but you can actually like message people on the chat as well and let them know like if I'm not here right currently that I'll be back, or tell them I'll answer any kind of PC questions that they might have. You just let me know if you would like to be a moderator for this channel and not just a Discord. And maybe later on today, after going through some things, I'll set the Discord back up and then set the link back up in the YouTube so people can join it. A lot of people like the Discord channel. I had a really good turnout for that. I had a whole bunch of different channels set in place for people, and a lot of people liked it, so I just could not keep up with it. It's a lot of work doing this YouTube stuff and trying to get the viewers and promote myself onto different channels like Instagram, TikTok, even Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat as OCPC, YouTube. So I mean, like, there's a lot of things you got to do to promote yourself for the channels, and the Discord was taking away time from promoting myself, and the promoting is very helpful. Okay, definitely will. I'll send you the list of rules and that on the Discord channel, and that will also apply to my YouTube channel because I'm trying to keep that fairly similar. And it's not a whole lot of rules. It's just I would like to have polite people, and not to have people say a bunch of things that are not true about certain things. Um, so like just have to let them know basically like that's not true. Anyone else that joins the Discord could read that and think that's the truth, and then they'll either implement those voltages or whatnot, and they could harm their system. That's why I would like a moderator to let them know like that is not the actual owner. You don't need to listen to those things as well. If you want to ask the actual owner of the YouTube channel or the Discord, you'll have to talk to him. So I like to make sure people get the correct facts, basically. It's just being correct and honest. That's what I try to be. And I'll let you know what's recommended, not recommended kind of thing. But all right, thanks, man. Thank you everyone for the turnout again. It's been a pretty good stream for especially the time of day. Thank you for joining. And I'll get rid of bobblehead me so that way I can actually do my little outro here. So you just go into filters. Oh, wrong one. So we just go into filters here, the image mask that's blend. So if anyone wants to learn about Discord, you can make your own in like Paint, Microsoft Paint or something like that. It's just a black background and you make a circle, a white circle, and you can make this. You can make this little bobblehead. And then you can change the size and all that depending on how you want it. So we just delete it and get back to normal. There's also a whole lot that goes into the actual recording and streaming as well that I'm still learning, but I've learned quite a bit over almost the past year now. All right. As always, everyone, don't forget to get her